maybe a lot of those books I might just look at the pictures and the captions. I started reading the books. Now I just want to give you, just so that we're all clear and sober about the condition of the nation, I want to just show you a few books. Here's my illustration for this week. A few books, not by Christian writers, by secular writers about our country. I want to show you. This book, not in Kansas anymore, is about how magic and witchcraft are coming back, rising up. People are turning to witchcraft in larger numbers than before in history. And this report goes around. And she investigates that. This book, I might have, you all weren't here some years ago, one of my sermons, I talked about this book, Spoiled Rotten. These two economists talked about how, because America has so much affluence, so much money, so much blessing, a lot of the problems we have is because of how much that we have.
Right.
See? We got time on our hands. Never before in history. People used to be working sun up to sundown. They didn't have time to go out and act fool. Spoiled rotten.
Got that right.
This right here by Professor McChesney, one of my favorite books, The Problem with the Media. And what he talks about in this book is that the media is consolidated into basically 7 companies. And these companies, most of the time, will create stuff that appeals to our baser level because they know that stuff's going to work. They don't take chances with things that might, provoke Americans to think. And that's one of the problems with the media. It's consolidated. It's less and less people creating the content. And the few that are creating it are committed to the bottom line. All right. This book, and this professor was in town not too long ago, James Gilligan, it's called Violence. And it's a classic. And what he talks about is America's problem with violence. And one of the things that he argues and suggests is that because in America there's so much wealth, America makes the people who are poor feel like they're doing something wrong by not being poor. And there's a sense of disrespect. And from that disrespect, people act out violently.
Mm-hmm.
That was his thesis. This book, fantastic book. This Tim Weiner here, it's on the CIA. He went through 50,000 declassified documents, interviewed 300 different agents, former agents. It's an excellent piece of history. It's about the CIA. And from their own documents, what all they have done in our country's behalf and how they've done it. And it's really depressing.
Wow.
Now, these last few books, I want you to pay special attention to. First of all, y'all might have heard about this book. Christianity Today said this was the book of the year 2002, Divided by Faith, Evangelical Religion, and the Problem of Race in America. And they really dig into with surveys and interviews about America's division and how blacks and whites feel about it and different things. It's an excellent book. And what they argue for is a multiracial church. Now, these last two books are some real stunners. This book, Buried in the Bitter Waters, is about racial cleansing in America. I'll give you an example. Pierce City, Missouri, and if you went to the microfiche and the post, you could read this. I believe 1904. Anyways, right around the early 1900s, something happened. A woman was killed. They thought it was a black guy, and the whole city purged all the blacks out of town. They took guns out of the armory, purged people out, took people's property. Common practice. Shockingly more common than we would like to admit. In this guy's book, he was a reporter, and he wasn't even looking into this. And all of a sudden, he just happened to look at census figures for this one area. He's like, wait a minute, there's blacks here, and there's no blacks. I don't understand this. And it caused him to dig and look into this. In this last book, Sundown Towns by James Lowen, I've been in contact with him, did some research, inspired by this book. He talks about the hidden dimension of American racism, where there are some communities that are all white. They even wrote in their bylaws that they didn't want to allow blacks or Jews or different people in there. And they remain that way until this very day. Nationally, nobody wants to talk about it. Makes us look bad. But this is the reality for all the good and wonderful things about this nation. For the wonderful fact that we can sit in here together and worship together, there still exist problems, tremendous problems, depravity. Now, all right, America, the old America, aspired to be a melting pot, aspired for people to be equal. We're moving a little bit more to that now. It's obvious. Okay? It's very obvious. Now, I said Jesus solved the race problem. Okay? And here's what's critical. In Romans 6:6, just turn to Romans 6:6 there. It says, we ought to know that our old self was crucified with him in order that the body of sin might be brought to nothing, so that we may be no longer enslaved to sin. People who are in union with Christ, you are, the old person is gone, it's a new person. Now the devil and the flesh may get us to want to lean back into the old person, act the way the old person did, but we're a new person. Okay? Jesus solved the race problem by his death, his crucifixion, his resurrection, and those who believe in him make a new person. The second thing where Jesus solved the race problem is when he clearly stated in Matthew 22:37, he says, the two great commandments. And the first one he says, you shall love your God with all your heart, body, soul, and spirit. And the second one he says, you shall love your neighbor as thyself. He says these are the two greatest commandments. Now, if we are to represent him, if we are truly new persons, we need to act on these. Now, why should we do that? I'll tell you. Please turn to Luke 17. And a few weeks ago, Pastor James was teaching on the mustard seed. And when you drop down a little lower, after the mustard seed, he talks about the mustard seed and the